Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is January 30th, 2026. And ladies and gentlemen, Barcelona have ruled out the signing of Etta Eyong, and I'm going to tell you why. Also, Barcelona's latest signing is done, completed. I'm going to tell you who it is and when they're going to land in the city of Barcelona. And finally, Deco sending a pointed message at Drew. We have a lot to discuss. So let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Boo, but I'm still away from home. This is why I'm doing this short live stream to bring you all Barcelona news or the latest Barcelona news. This is not a podcast, so I won't be doing reading the comment section live. This is just to bring you the latest FC Barcelona news while I'm away from home. Now, I already made 2 videos before this one. I'm going to make another video after this one. So 4 videos today. Once you're done watching them, you're going to be all up to date on all Barcelona news or all the news regarding the greatest club in the world, Football Club Barcelona. Now, let's dive right into the news because, ladies and gentlemen, Barcelona have confirmed an exit that I told you about. I think it was a week, maybe 2 weeks ago, which is the Barca Athletic defender Mamadou Mbacke, who has returned to the MLS and has officially joined St. Louis City on a permanent transfer deal. Now, Mamadou Mbacke arrived in Barcelona 2.5 seasons ago. He originally arrived on loan from another MLS team, LAFC, and then Barcelona signed him on a permanent basis in the summer transfer market. Initially, he was very important for Barca Athletic or in Barca Athletic scheme, but eventually with time, he started to lose more and more prominence, and then eventually Barcelona decided to offload him, and that's exactly what has happened. Mamadou Mbacke will be returning to the MLS. Now, it hasn't been revealed how much Barcelona have made, if anything, off this transfer, but one thing that has been confirmed is that Barcelona have retained a percentage of any future sale. So if Mamadou Mbacke goes to, he will go to St. Louis, but if he goes there and keeps growing, developing, gets better, attracts the attention of a bigger club that's willing to pay money, Barcelona will get a chunk of that money. And that's, of course, is something that Barcelona have done a lot with their younger players, which I think is an absolute win because Barcelona are always making money every summer transfer market from players that haven't been at the club for many, many seasons. Now, on to that next bit of news because one player who will not be at Barcelona, just like Mamadou Mbacke because he left, this one, not because he left, but because he won't be arriving, well, it's no other than Etta Eyong. Now, as you know, Lewandowski's contract expires during this summer transfer market, and Barcelona have been on a hunt, scanning the market, researching the market for possible replacements for Robert Lewandowski. One player that was being considered is, of course, Etta Eyong, the 23-year-old center forward who's currently playing for Levante. And Barcelona tried to sign him last summer when he still had a release clause worth 10 million euros when he was still at Villarreal. But Villarreal insisted on the full release clause. Barcelona at the time did not have the money to do so. So he ended up going to Levante, where now his release clause is worth 30 million euros. And while given that now the investment is bigger, Barcelona decided to do an extensive report on the player. Barcelona scouts have been watching every match of Etta Eyong. In fact, they even went to AFCON to watch Etta Eyong with Cameroon. And well, after watching the player for quite some time and doing an extensive analysis on the player, Barcelona have decided that Etta Eyong has some technical and tactical deficiencies that make him not an ideal signing for Barcelona. Plus, and this is something I talked about a lot, if we're going to replace Lewandowski, we need someone, a striker in their prime, someone that can hit the ground running. Etta Eyong might be promising, but he's not a player that can hit the ground running. The center forward position is an incredibly sensitive position. We can't have someone who is young, who's still learning, who's still growing, who's still developing. We need someone that is made, that can come, start on day one, and hit the ground running. And while Etta Eyong is not that player, and as such, Barcelona have ruled out the signing of Eyong. So my question is, who do you think Barcelona should sign? Let me know down below in the comment section. I think it's going to end up being Vlahovic because he kind of fits, the whole someone in their prime who has experience, who can come and hit the ground running. I think that's going to be it as far as what's available and what's affordable. Because sure, we can talk about Haaland and Julian Alvarez and all these guys, but let's be honest, Barcelona cannot afford those players. What we can afford is, Vlahovic, because he would be a free signing, unless, of course, that Dubai deal all of a sudden drops 200 million euros in our lap, and then we can go make a signing like Julian Alvarez, which, even if it happens, I don't think we should, because we're still getting out of a financial hole. We're still not out of it. And if we get 200 million in our lap, the last thing we want to do is go spend it right away. But anyways, that's my opinion. I want to hear yours. Let me know down below in the comment section. And let's move on to the next bit of news, because speaking of strikers, it's finally. But the deal to sign the most promising player currently in Egypt, Hamza Abdul Karim, is done. Hamza Abdul Karim will land in the city of Barcelona tomorrow, Saturday, January the 31st, in order to pass his medical exams and to join his new team, Barca Athletic. Now, we've been talking about Hamza Abdul Karim for quite some time, because Barcelona actually reached an agreement with the player back in December so he can join Barcelona. The next step was, of course, to negotiate with his current club, Al Hilal. That took some time because Al Hilal made things very difficult for Barcelona. In fact, they rejected Barcelona's first offer. Eventually, Barcelona reached an agreement with the club as well. The third step was then Al Hilal wanting to renew Hamza Abdul Karim, which after several weeks of negotiations, they managed to do so. They extended the player's contract by one more season. And then the final hurdle, which is the one that took the longest, was the bureaucratic one, which when Barcelona was processing the visa and the work permit of the player. And that paperwork has all been finally approved by the Spanish government. So now everything's done. The player agreement with the club is done. The agreement with Al Hilal is done. His contract renewal is done. His paperwork is done. And he will land tomorrow in the city of Barcelona to join Barca Athletic on loan, free loan until the end of the season, with an option to buy, which is worth 3 million euros plus some variables that can make the deal end up costing 5 million euros for the most promising player to come out of Egypt since Mo Salah. So finally, ladies and gentlemen, this deal is done. Of course, I'm sure tomorrow the club will make it official, but it's done. And now Hamza Abdul Karim will join the likes of Pacifico, the Uruguayan left back, and what's his name? Onstein, who have also, Jubensley Onstein, who have all signed for Barca during this winter transfer market. And in fact, they were seen at the stadium watching the Champions League match against Copenhagen alongside another signing, Joaquin Delgado, who has already even played for Barca Athletic. Now, Barcelona is still working on more signings like AJ Tabares and Ruud Nystad. So very busy winter transfer market for Deco and Amaral. Anyways, let's move on to the next bit of news, because, ladies and gentlemen, it's been confirmed. Something I told you about, I think it was last week, but Barcelona have officially extended the contract of what has become one of the most important players currently on the team, Fermin Lopez, whose contract was set to expire in 2029. Barcelona have extended it by 2 more years until 2031, giving the player a 50% salary increase and, of course, increasing his release clause, which was already set at 500 million euros. We don't know how much it is, but I imagine it's going to be 1 billion, just like all the other important players like Pedri, Lamine, etc. But of course, this is something that Barcelona did because Fermin Lopez had gained prominence since he debuted under Xavi Hernandez in 2023. And he has slowly become more and more important for Barcelona's plan, up until the point that now he's one of the most important players on the squad. This, of course, attracted the attention of many European clubs. And in order to protect the player from other clubs' interests, they decided to extend his contract, give him a higher salary and a higher release clause. So Barcelona securing another player for its project, who's Fermin freaking Lopez, the Ferminator, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's end today's video with the news that Deco sent a pointed message to Dro after Dro joined the PSG. And this is what the sporting director had to say after an incredibly busy winter transfer market. Actually, still busy because he's still working on more signings. But Deco said the following in regards to Dro's departure. He said, "I hope he's happy and that he grows as a player, although it's important not to rush him, whether here or in Paris, as that could be detrimental. Sometimes the methods and the people involved are not the right ones." You know, talking about how the player was influenced by his circle to leave Barcelona, who had a specific plan for him to grow, develop, and instead he went chasing money and more minutes somewhere else. And finally, Deco said there is no need to make a drama out of it. He was in the first team dynamic like other players. He made that decision And that is that. So Deco saying, hey, he left. Hey, he left. I hope he's happy. I hope he becomes good. He was just another player like many other players in first team dynamics. In other words, one leaves, 10 other players are right behind him. Why? Because, ladies and gentlemen, La Masia, the greatest academy in the entire world. So does it suck that Dro left? Sure. Should we cry about it? Should be sad? No, it's not Lamine that left. It's just another talented, promising player, just like the 100 others that we have in the academy. Anyways, that is all the news for this video. I did do 2 other videos before this one. Make sure to check them out. I'm doing a 4th one right after this one. Yes, 4 videos, ladies and gentlemen. So much content. Make sure to watch all of it. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, peace, guys.